Namaskar, Dr. Ramesh, and thank you very much for being with us on today's program and the conversation, which is long awaited from our side, as well as a lot of candidates and the students who are eagerly waiting for understanding a very so-called, the complex subject called data science or data analytics, rather, I put it this way. So there is a lot of buzzword which is going on in the market or in the industry, and surprisingly, students from all streams together, they have started inquiring about master's program in data science or data analytics. So in the academic interest of the students, I would like to understand many things from your side. So let's start with the first thing is kindly help us to know what is data science as a subject and why it is known as future of every industry.
Well, thank you for inviting me here. It's my pleasure to be with you as well as addressing the students. You ask about data science, and I will sort of answer the question in my vocabulary. Data science can also be synonymously used with business analytics, and interestingly enough, you could also make a direct relationship with data science and AI and machine learning. These are the words that it gets thrown around quite a bit in today's environment, but all of them sort of lead to the same. They all have that common background. So data science, business analytics, artificial intelligence, machine learning, I think they're all connected together. So with that context, data science, I would say, simply stated, it's a process of sourcing, building, cleaning, and structuring data sets. Now, why do we want to do all that? Why do we want to structure data sets? The purpose of data science is then to analyze the data set to extract meaning and extract insights out of the data, right? So there is a second level of data science that once you extract the meaning out of the data, the insights out of the data, the act of analyzing and interpreting the data, this is where the intelligence come in as well. Artificial intelligence, or in my vocabulary, I called it augmented intelligence. So you build, clean, structure data sets to analyze and extract insights. And then you analyze and interpret the insights, the data, so it creates business value, right? All of these kind of lead to that business value. Without that context in mind, data science may merely be a subject, right? So the two aspects of data science is one, to bring and structure data sets, and the second is to interpret. That will lead to business value for any company.
Okay. So, but why it is called so far, or why it is been told that it's a future of every industry?
Well, I think you and I know, Makaran, and the students who are here, we turn every direction today. We see data. We touch our mobile device, we see data. We look at the laptop, we work on something, we see data, right? So data is, one, I think why industries care about this is because, as I said, it brings measurable business value by doing all those things I said about data science, structuring and analyzing and getting insights, and all of those things lead to business value, and that means that make them com more competitive. That makes businesses become category leaders, not merely operate business for a reason, just to existence, but become a goal to become the leader in their own industries by understanding the data. Now, there is a saying, which it's not new, by the way. Using data for driving business value is not new. 3-4 decades ago, there is a gentleman by name Edwards Deming, which people who know about TQM and quality and so on, he's almost like a god, right? So he said, it's a famous quote: "In God we trust. All others bring data." Right? And the world caught up to it. The businesses now recognize the value of what he said 3 or 4 decades ago. In today's digital world, data with, I would say all others bring data. I said that may not be sufficient enough. All others bring data with insights.
Okay.
And those insights are often seen as value drivers, right? These insights with that value driving capability it's fast becoming an established strategy for business success for companies, right? That's why every industry, I've served as a consultant, I've served as a faculty member, I've led a top-notch business program, business analytics program, in #2 ranked across the globe. I've been a director, and as a consultant with Deloitte and IBM, I worked with multiple industries. Right? I worked in apparel industry, consumer industry, technology industry, medical devices, you name it. Now, I see all of them, regardless of what industry we are in. In fact, even today, even politics, right? You look at the elections. It's all about data today. It's the ones who really understand the data, the demographics behind the data, how to target the right kind of people. Where does that all come from? That insights, structuring the data. So it's not only industry, it's also across disciplines, engineering, social sciences, marketing, supply chain. It's all about the differentiator really comes from doing this data science in a systematic way, right? So that's why industries are seeing this as a huge potential,
So you,
huge value.
so you mean to say that data science or data analytics has more to do with the various functions of, I would say, business or industry rather than industry itself?
Yes, I think it really touches all the core elements of a business, right? That's why I remember, I worked at Dell for about 10 years, and leading a large organization in analytics and so on. I remember even almost eight years ago, Michael Dell made data and analytics as a strategic pillar for the company. So it cuts across all the core disciplines of the company. It's not sits in, it doesn't sit in a pocket here, pocket there, but he saw the value in understanding the market, understanding customers, understanding operations. Key to all of that is this data science and business analytics. So it cuts through all the core functions of an organization as well. Absolutely.
So if this is the reality of, or I would say the future of, every business functions, which is highly dependent or maybe highly influenced by the way you manage, strategize, or you can say the restructure the data. So overall, if I would have, if I really have to ask you a very simple question, what is the future of data science as a stream, and it will be influencing the current technology?
Excellent. Absolutely. Great question. So I will answer the question by giving some context, right? In our environment that we live in today, and look ahead, based on that, through that lens. Now, in 2020, every person, that includes you, me, everyone in the audience, including the students, 1 megabytes of data is generated by every person,
Oh.
every second. Every person, every second generates 1 megabytes of data. And another context to think about,
So
every day,
what volume of data has been generated?
it's in, I don't even have it's not even petabytes. It's like 1,000 times of
Quintillion.
petabytes and so on.
I was somewhere reading that every day we as a citizen we are generating globally more than 2.5 quintillion of data.
Now, if you tell me what is quintillion, I have no idea how many zeros it is.
Even I also
I think in that hierarchy of data, megabytes to all the way gigabytes and so on. It's, I think, zettabytes is what they say, and I think it's got I don't know how many zeros, but that's you are generating humongous amounts of data. I think we all can agree with that, right? So, and so that is one context. And in our daily lives, in 2020, every day, about 300 billion emails are being sent or received. 300 billion. That's 300 times the population of India, roughly.
Yes.
And I don't even want to go how many tweets are made almost every day. Now, why I'm saying all these are all data. Now, data can be structured, it can be unstructured. In data science, we can make sense of any of these, whether it's structured data or unstructured data or semi-structured. A lot of these in Facebook and tweets and so on includes text, videos, numbers, you name it. And our task is to understand, wade through that information, structure them, interpret them in a meaningful way, right? So you tell me, given all these things, all these amounts of data that's being created, who's going to do all this? Who's going to structure? Who's going to interpret? Who's going to present it in a meaningful way? And that's why when company executives are saying, man, this is my strategic pillar, they see the value in doing all this. And so what does that mean to the future? It means there is a greater demand. As is, we have great demand for people who can do this, individuals who can do this. So the demand for this kind of skill sets in data science, business analytics is just going through roof. And I remember a couple of studies. U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. It's a federal agency that compiles all these kinds of data. In data science, the prediction is about 12 million jobs globally, and 12 million jobs by 2025.
Oh.
And they also say the employment of data scientists is expected to rise by about 15% in the next decade. 15%.
Oh.
And that is faster than the average for all other occupations, if you would make a guess, it's 4%. The
Hmm.
average for all other occupation, the rise going up, the demand is 4% increase. In data science, it's 15%.
Oh,
So we can
fantastic.
all conclude, what the future holds for this field of data science and analytics, right? So it is, it really is a critical area. It's critical for India, it's critical for USA, it's critical globally.
So the students or the candidates who would be aspiring to make their career in data analytics or data science, which type of technology they should learn?
Well, I think I would view this more of technology is something that is a constantly changing environment.
I'm talking about the
But
current stage. At this point of time, if someone would like to pursue for careers in data science, maybe next 2 to 5 years, which technology they should learn?
no, I think data science and business analytics in general, I would probably say there are three core elements of it.
Hmm.
Three core. It's not really three technologies. It's a three core elements. One is the some basic principles understanding of statistics. When we quoted several statistics numbers now, even in the last 5 minutes, right? You can imagine when you have dealing with data and so on, basic understanding of dealing with statistics is one core element of data science. And the second one is perhaps the ability to um, some basic level of coding and so on. I think that's something that we have to, and I'm sure you heard this, and many of the students probably hear this about open source technologies and technologies available such as Python. It's been out there, and these are not the I don't think the expectation is to become top-notch programmer, but some basic functional working level understanding of using these kinds of coding um, and statistics, and the abstraction and thinking about models, right? Modeling. It's about how do I take this data and make some meaningful insight from this, right? If that basic understanding of those kinds of principles, I think that's what really set up students to be a successful data scientist or a business analytics professional or a machine learning specialist and things like that.
Okay, I think Dr. Ramesh, you must have heard about a theory called design thinking,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which is a problem solving technique, so called. Okay.
Right,
So
right.
if a student who has a background of understanding the design thinking as a theory, do you think that that student or a candidate can certainly do well in data science as a model designer?
Absolutely. In my view, design thinking is a mindset, right?
Okay.
It's the ability to um, look at a problem and look at a problem in a structured manner and systematically figure out how to solve that problem,
Okay.
right? So, and absolutely, that's critical. That's critical in not only in data science, I'm sure in any field, but particularly in data science, because in data science it's all about you know being able to identify a problem, formulate questions to address that problem, business questions, and then systematically follow a process. In statistics, you may call hypothesis, or I want to define this and I want to prove or disprove this hypothesis. And for that, I need to take a critical thinking hat. I got to put that hat and systematically go after a solution concept. Only here, that solution concept and the solution itself is driven out of analytics techniques, machine learning methods, and so on, to use as a data mining, extracted insights, and then important part is to be able to tell a story with what you find from these methods to your audience, which oftentimes is your peers, professionals, executives. Tell them a story that you have been able to derive from this data that can be used for making decisions, right? So if you put it all these things process in place, it's a lot of it is driven out of design thinking.
Okay. So does it mean that if a candidate is not an engineering student, he can still pursue for this kind of career in data science? Is it true?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned engineering student. Absolutely. Engineering students, data science is a part. It is becoming, or it's already become, a part of the core engineering functions today, right? And I can give you a couple of examples from my own consulting experience and so on. What used to be, I did some modeling work for an agricultural equipment manufacturer years ago. Now, if I look at the same equipment manufacturer, right, making agricultural, what should I say, harvester, for example, right? When you look at a harvester, you typically think of a 19th century kind of a machinery that kind of runs around in a farm. Now today, that same harvester, it's a it's something that can do what you see in Star Wars, right? It beams data back home. It beams reams of data, not just a piece of data here and there. And this manufacturer of equipment is put all kinds of IoT devices in this harvester,
Mhm.
constantly sends information back. Now tell me, if I'm designing this machinery and I say, hey, I'm a mechanical engineer, all I do is design, great. But if you don't keep all these processes in your, all these other needs of today's digital world in your design, you're going to be obsolete very quickly, right? So in that sense, it's very much part of this. Same thing. I've also consulted for automotive industry for many years now, and today, automotive industry is moving into self-driving cars,
Yes.
right? Now, if I say I only design internal combustion engines, self-driving cars which are battery powered with the solar energy stored, you know, if I say I'm really good at designing IC engines, internal combustion engines, world is moving fast. So we have to be able to incorporate in those self-driving cars. There's so much of IoT and so much of data collection, real-time analysis of data, making decisions real time, and navigating this vehicle, and collision avoidance to and monitoring the driver's sleepiness. All kinds of things are going on. It is today's technology. It is there today, right? So this is so even for engineering student, it has become very much of a core part of what they do. They got to be. They have to learn this. Now you asked, can a non-engineering student also study data science? Absolutely, absolutely. The to harness this power of data, big data, it is for everyone, right? Anyone, because in my job function, it doesn't matter if I'm an engineer or non-engineer. I have to access data. I have to derive benefits out of the data. And by doing so, I gain knowledge about the processes and the behaviors around the process. And I have to process large amounts of information, right, quickly and efficiently. And I have to secure the data, the sensitivity of data, and so on. And in doing all of these, the ultimate purpose is to make a contribution to the organization that I work in, to add that business value, right? Help in decision making and add business value. Now, does that mean that only engineers can do this? It is a must for everybody, right? In today's environment. So, companies know it, and companies want everyone to be thinking data. And I use the word institutionalizing analytics within companies. Every company wants to make it as part of, whether you are in the cash register or you are an executive, you are doing all these things, harnessing the data, getting the benefit out of it by zeroing in on the insights and connecting all those insights to business value. Everybody should be thinking, within their own job functions, obviously, and it's all connected.
So if I really, if I go back in past, somewhere in late 70s or early 80s, no matter whatever is your qualification, but unless you know how to type a letter on a typewriter, your employability skill will never go up. So if I really look at in the current situation, no matter whatever is your qualification, whether you are an engineer or a non-engineer, okay, you must understand the data management, and that's from the science perspective. Is that true? Is it actually an employability skill?
Absolutely, it is. It is. It's I kind of draw an analogy. I earlier mentioned Edward Deming, the quality guru. There is a in those years when leading thinkers like that were bringing that quality into the process. They at one point they said quality is free. It's non-negotiable. I mean, it's got to be built in. There's nothing like I got to build quality. It's part of the process. Today, understanding data and interpreting data and from the insights and attaching it to our, driving the data-driven decision process for a business value, it's non-negotiable no matter who it is, right? So knowing how to make sense of data, how to navigate through it, how do I leverage the data to bring business value through my own job function that I'm in today? If I can do it well, all of a sudden people are going to take notice. And when they take notice, your career is on a path of no stopping you. Once people recognize that you are the guy, oh man, he's able to bring these kind of insights from this data. Everybody is going to be after you. So is it a career enhancing skill? Absolutely it is. I think that's in fact, it's as we said in some of these statistics, it is a skill that, I talk to a lot of company heads. In fact, I just concluded last week a program in analytics for a very large automotive component manufacturer in India with all the leaders. And I had their member companies, a CEO from each one of them came and talked to us, the participant. The participants themselves were senior level managers. Then the executives also came and shared their experiences and the needs. Every one of them validated that this is a skill. This is how they can get better. They can get competitive. They can see value, business value in dollars and cents, right? So all of that start with the ability to do that combine your critical thinking and problem solving skills. That's what company heads want today. Ability to cut through all the data, huge reams and heaps of data. How do I get the best out of it and use it for making decisions, right? So it is absolutely a career enhancing skill that one must have.
Okay, so I'll just give you an example. Like for an example, I already spent around 5 to 7 years in my current job. Okay, no matter whether I am an engineer or non-engineer, but now somewhere I am feeling that I'm stuck up in my career somewhere. And since I've heard a lot about the data science, the business analytics, artificial intelligence, and all, somewhere I have been forced to think that what should I do next? So for my kind of candidate, what do you suggest as a prescription for the career?
Yeah, I would suggest that one, I think your perception of getting stuck probably is true, because a lot of companies have shifted focus from traditional, even if you take a IT, right? And in fact, I recently had a talk with one of our prospect students who is from a very large company, globally known as an IT architect. Now, he felt that even though he took some, he's full, with his background, he can understand data and so on. It is not getting noticed because of his job function as an IT person. Now he wants to break away from that and become a data scientist, or someone who can demonstrate his ability to use analytics and machine learning and so on, right? So for that kind of a shift you want to make in your career transition out of a traditional IT architect job to a data scientist, I think one of the quickest way you could do that is to go through some sort of a formal program. And the formal program will enhance your problem solving skills. It will resharpen your critical thinking more towards bringing it closer to using the current technologies used in data science, current methods used in data science, right? So that's a quick
Prescription which you are referring to.
yeah, a rapid way to find a way to get into data science and demonstrate your skills and interests and things like that, right? So absolutely.
So you are suggesting, by and large, you are suggesting a program, a master level program or a master's program in data science. Is that so what you are suggesting me?
Absolutely. And I think, Makarand, I would also, I will paint a picture, from my, area of strength, which is the education system in the US. I've been I've directed a program in Master's of Science in Business Analytics at University of Texas, Austin, which is a top-notch program and top-notch school. And the universities in general, at least in the US, and I see this trend also in the UK, and India is slightly behind but catching up, is to shift away from our traditional, hey, if it's a master, it's got to be 2 years.
Okay.
Now, what we have done, without losing the rigor, universities have figured out a way to bring all that into a 1-year experience. Why? Because the industry is in tremendous need today for people with these kind of qualifications and skills. And the sooner you give them those kind of background people with that skill, the sooner they absorb them into their work stream. Now, the answer to that need, the demand, was how do I bring this program into a 1-year experience. So there is a quicker return on investment for the students. And yet it's going to be a lot more rigorous. It's going to be, faster and harder, but the end of the program, you're going to realize that, wow, this is great. This is exactly what I wanted to do, because now I see an opportunity opening up, within a year. And I would say a US degree from a globally reputed universities, a program in Master of Science, Data Science, I think would be a fast way to get there.
And this program will be of 2 years, right? Or 1 year?
It ranges. I think what's happened is in these designing these kinds of programs, there is also the element today of making use of blended learning environment, right? So working professionals, sometimes they find it hard to take a break, even if it is 12 months. But they can absorb these things over a period of, say, 18 months, 20 months, the same material, and in their own pace. So I would say for working professional, if they plan for an 18 to 20 months, or even extend it to about 27 months, over a period of time, because, to balance their work as well as earning a degree, it is range. So you find programs in these kind of ranges. But the MS degree in data science is a, particularly it's made available to folks today. So it made it's packaged in a way that it doesn't limit you as a working professional, and it gives you that advantage of using this as a way to transition into data science, for somewhat high-paying jobs, and jobs that not only high-paying but strategically, critically important for companies.
So this kind of program are more advisable for candidates who are currently working, do not want to quit their job, do not want to leave the country, and still they can earn an international degree from the most reputed university of US, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'll give you an example of where SetConnect, I founded this company. I'm the founder and CEO of SetConnect. And, we have established a very, what should I say, a prestigious partnership with a top-notch university in the US called Southern Methodist University, based in Dallas, Texas, SMU, as it's commonly known. And SMU's MSDS, Master of Science in Data Science, it's an online program, meaning it takes a blended approach very seriously, and it gives the opportunity for working professionals to adjust their work schedule, so it can be tailored in 2 ways. You can get this in 20 months or 27 months, depending on your schedule and how you want to. And typically, it's a rolling admission. Every year, there are 4 different opportunities to get admitted into the program. And the program also allows students who are working professionals not to have to go through rigorous preparation for GMAT and those kinds of things. So those are waived, and it's almost, in my words, I would say it's almost bringing education to your doorstep. A top-notch global US degree to, some people say fingertips, but I say to your doorstep. You could, and yet have a very powerful interaction with some of the leading thinkers in data science and problem solvers in their own industries using data science. You get network with those kinds of faculty members who can probably write a phenomenal recommendation letter that can carry you through be it a Google or a Dell or a Walmart, or companies recognize these kinds of things, right? So I've written myself recommendation letters for master's students. I know the value, right? The employers look at that, and so you get access to those kinds of resources. Plus, a university that's been in existence for 150 years, their established history and their relationship with their own, companies in their own career placement offices and so on. Even though today we are looking at virtual in a large way, but even in virtual, people have to go sell products, people have to hire, people have to do their own things, right? So things don't stop. So we can take advantage of these kinds of opportunities.
Okay. So, there is one more important question which has came to my mind, that if a student who does not have any corporate or industry experience has just moving out of college or a university or a undergrad program and planning to pursue for MSDS kind of program, may not be the similar program from the same university, but in a general context, if a student wants to continue his master's program soon after his undergrad program in data science, what's a word of advice for this kind of student? Does it really make sense to have some industry exposure before going into this program, or it is actually not required?
I say, in some ways, if you're looking for a transition from a career, I think it's one of the fastest way to do that is to get a formal education, right, from a reputed place. Now, what I also recommend to students in these programs. In fact, when I ran the program, that MSBA program, I really thought people who come with less previous sort of baggages, thinking about how I want to do, they can shape their career even more flexibly. Of course, it helps to transition your career, but even to enter a career, you want to be the fresh data science thinker I want to hire from a company, right? So absolutely, I think I it absolutely perfectly works well for them. And I can also say, people who have liking for numbers, people who have liking for statistical thinking and so on, problem solving, abstract modeling, these kind of folks will find this program very, very powerful, um, add on to their, say, an existing degree from math or mathematics or statistics or even science degrees and engineering degrees. Particularly, engineers tend to do well with the quantitative, with training that they've already gotten. So for them to shape themselves into a fast moving, fast developing area of data science, I think it's a great opportunity. It is not just for transitioning careers. You can set up yourself much sooner as you come out of these programs to be a top contributor to this field. And believe me, industries want fresh thinkers, young minds, and the young minds who can work with data. Absolutely, I think it is suitable for them as well.
Okay, so it's been really nice discussing on this particular subject. And Dr. Ramesh, we are really thankful for sharing your valuable inputs and insights about this program. Before we
No,
close this session, I would like to understand that the students or a candidate who would like to make his or her career in the space of data analytics or data science, or maybe you can say the artificial intelligence, machine learning, whatnot, okay? What advice you would like to give them for what type of mindset they should carry before enrolling into such programs and later pursuing their career in the space of data management?
Yeah, I think I always tell the students, my own students, I think you have to have a liking to solve problems, right? When I see a problem, I light up and say, hey, we need to solve this problem, and then the skills and all that follow. The skills that you need to solve a problem come, you can systematically acquire them, whether it's statistics or Python or modeling or various modeling techniques. All of those things can come follow. But how do I solve problems and make a contribution to a particular job function, right? I call this business value. So solve problems to add business value. In between these two come, how do I formulate the right kind of questions to solve the problem? How do I design and conceptualize solutions and execute on the solutions? All of that come in, systematically apply data science methods and principles, modeling techniques in that process. But you really have to enjoy, like to solve problems and think critically about everything, right? So these are some of the things. It really, you will see that those are the ones who really shine and excel. And most of us want to do that. So that's the beauty of this field. It doesn't exclude anybody in that sense.
So thank you very much, Dr. Ramesh, for sharing such a insightful information about this particular program. With this, in this episode, or rather I would say the viewer of this episode can understand the basics of data science and data analytics as a career, okay? But surely in the next episode, we would certainly like to know more about the program which you mentioned from Southern Methodist University, okay, MSDS program, Master of Science in Data Science. We would like to discuss more about that program in detail and how that program be useful for students who are currently working in corporates, currently working with various industries, do not want to leave that the country, but still they would like to upskill themselves and to get ready for the need of future requirement, or you can say that they would like to be a future ready as far as the employability has concerns. So thank you very much for joining with us in this episode. In next episode, we will discuss more about a particular program. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, absolutely. Thank you for having me, and I look forward to doing more of this and answering more questions. Thank you.